A cold and sinister aura swept away from the fourth Tianzuan's body like a storm. The blood of those within his aura boiled at this moment, regardless of whether or not they were from the Yin Alliance or Profound Lion sect. Immediately, one could hear a bang, bang, bang sound as countless numbers of bodies exploded. A pool of bloody pulp dyed the ground until it was incomparably red. This indiscriminate killing by the fourth Tianzuan naturally shocked both parties. Those people close to the abyss hurriedly pulled back. Within a short instant, the entire area had become empty. Bastard, what are you doing? Don't tell me that you have forgotten our agreement? A short distance away, Xiao, who had been seriously injured by a strike from Xiao, had finally caught his breath at this moment. He immediately became furious and cried out loud when he saw the fourth Tianzuan began to kill people from the Profound Lion sect's army. The fourth Tianzuan floated over the sea of blood. His eyes were indifferent as they glanced at Xiao, who had cried out furiously. He slowly raised his hand and pointed at Xiao from some distance away before abruptly clenching his hand. Bang! Xiao's furious cry suddenly halted the when fourth Tianzuan clenched his hand. Xiao's body exploded in an instant, causing blood to shoot out in all directions. The faces of the Profound Lion sect's experts were greatly shocked when they saw that this person had killed even the chief of the Profound Lion sect. Although they were extremely furious, none of them dared to let out an angry cry. Even Xiao was unable to block a random palm from the fourth Tianzuan. Even less needed to be said for them, and some of the experts in the Profound Lion sect's camp had been threatened and lured over to the Hall of Souls. They could not be called loyal to the Profound Lion sect anymore. Naturally, they would not take the initiative to help them. Pull back the Yin Alliance's front line. This fellow experiences mood swings. In any case, it would be suicidal for an ordinary army to get involved. Kai Lin knit her brows and ordered in a deep voice. Understood. Xiao Ding and Xiao Li by the side nodded when they heard her command. They quickly relayed her orders to swiftly withdraw all soldiers outside of the fortress. Now, we can only hope that Xiao will be able to deal with this person. Otherwise, the mysterious yellow fortress will not avoid a terrible bloodshed. Hai Buodong spoke with a grave face. Even Kai Lin could only nod her head when she heard these words. The strength of that so-called fourth Tianzuan was obviously great. None of the people present could contend with him. Hence, they could only place all their hope on Xiao. Xiao in the sky frowned as he watched the fourth Tianzuan randomly cause a person's body to self-destruct. An expression of contemplation flashed across his eyes. This person is called Shui He Tianzuan, Blood River Tianzuan. Moreover, he also knows the blood transforming grand skill. He probably can control the blood in a person's body. Xiao had come across experts who could control the blood of another person. However, none of them had been as tough as this fourth Tianzuan. A 6-star Do Zun's body had exploded with a flick of his hand. Although Xiao's serious injuries factored in, the mysterious technique of the fourth Tianzuan was the main reason. Splash! The sea of blood suddenly rippled while Xiao was thinking to himself. The fourth Tianzuan stepped forward and walked through empty air. He took a step at a time and finally stopped a short distance away from Xiao. His blood-colored hair fluttered and a bloody scent quietly spread across the sky. Peak of an 8-star Do Zun. This is indeed quite strong. The fourth Tianzuan studied Xiao. An ugly smile rose onto his face as he lifted his hand and violently clenched it in Xiao's direction. The space in front of the fourth Tianzuan immediately became distorted after he clenched his hand. A thought passed through Xiao's heart as he observed the fourth Tianzuan with a frown. A majestic Do Qi broke from his body. The Do Qi transformed into a fierce flame that wrapped around him. Do Qi will not be able to block my blood transforming grand skill. The fourth Tianzuan laughed in a hoarse voice when he saw Xiao's Do Qi. The fourth Tianzuan's words had just sounded when Xiao Yin sensed the blood within his body began to churn uncontrollably. He could vaguely feel that his blood was about to burst from their vessels. Xiao Yan's expression changed slightly when he sensed the transformation occurring in his body. This fellow's so-called blood-transforming grand skill was indeed unique. However, Xiao Yin was about to suppress the churning blood within his body when his heart suddenly pounded. He quickly noticed a strange strength spreading from his heart. Finally, this strength spread to his blood vessels, and the boiling feeling disappeared almost the moment the strength came into contact with his blood. This is the merged bloodline from the heavenly tomb? This change caused Xiao Yin to feel startled as some surprise flashed across his eyes. It was unexpected that this newly formed bloodline was this powerful. Even the fourth Tianzuan's blood-transforming grand skill was unable to affect it. Looks like your blood-transforming grand skill is not as strong as you described it. Xiao Yin lifted his head after sensing the blood gradually calming within his body. He smiled at the fourth Tianzuan while he spoke. What happened? The fourth Tianzuan was startled when there was no response from Xiao Yan's body. He frowned. This blood-transforming grand skill was a Tian-class Do skill. Even some elite Banshangs would be affected by it, causing them to split their attention to suppress it. Why was it that this skill was completely useless against Xiao Yin? Xiao Yin slightly smiled. Both of his hands quickly formed many mysterious seals. After the formation of these seals, a mysterious clan tattoo slowly appeared on his brows. Xiao clan's clan tattoo? You have actually activated the Xiao clan's bloodline? The fourth Tianzuan was startled when he saw the clan tattoo on Xiao Yan's brows. The Xiao clan's bloodline had already been wasted. Everyone knew that. Why could Xiao Yin summon the clan tattoo? No one could answer the fourth Tianzuan question. Xiao Yan's aura suddenly soared when the clan tattoo appeared. Within a short instant, it was no longer inferior to the fourth Tianzuan's aura. The strengthening effect of the clan tattoo was perfectly displayed at this moment. Who? Xiao Yin comfortably inhaled a mouthful of air as he sensed the surging Do Qi from within his body. He immediately lifted his head and smiled at the frowning fourth Tianzuan. His foot stepped forward, and his body vanished the moment his foot landed. Even though the blood-transforming grand skill is useless against you, I am still able to sense the flow of the blood in your body to determine your position. Therefore, your speed is useless against me. The fourth Tianzuan coldly laughed when he saw Xiao Yin vanish. He swiftly took 3 steps back as wave after wave of blood-red Do Qi flowed out of his body and gathered into a thick blood cuticle on his palm. He then ruthlessly smashed it toward the empty space to the right. Come out! A stench-filled palm wind arrived, and the space immediately became distorted. A figure also appeared. It was Xiao Yin. Although Xiao Yan's position was detected, he did not show any signs of dodging. Instead, he stepped forward and allowed the fourth Tianzuan's attack to land on his chest. At the same time, a hot fist suddenly whizzed out. Its swiftness did not allow time for any reactions. The palm wind ruthlessly struck the fourth Tianzuan's body. This fighting method did not involve any skill. It was a literal exchange of blows. Bang! The fists of the two ruthlessly landed on the other party's body. However, Xiao Yan's shoulders merely shook after receiving a blow from the fourth Tianzuan. His expression was not altered. On the other hand, the fourth Tianzuan was forced a couple of steps back by Xiao Yan's punch. His throat also emitted a moan. Xiao Yan's incomparably hot fist wind was too much for him to endure. It seems that you will not be able to endure if we exchange blows in this manner. Xiao Yan flicked his clothes with a smiling face and softly commented. The fourth Tianzuan's face was gloomy. His eyes stared at the cloth on Xiao Yan's body. After having exchanged blows, he was naturally aware that his attack had mostly been absorbed by that strange cloth earlier. However, he could not understand why the remaining force didn't harm Xiao Yan. The rest of the attack had naturally been absorbed by the Dragon Phoenix ancient armor hidden in Xiao Yan's skin, but such a secret would never be understood by the fourth Tianzuan no matter how he thought about it. Not only were Xiao Yan's clothes strange, but even his skin was extremely mysterious. The fourth Tianzuan stared at Xiao Yan in a dark and solemn manner. Xiao Yan was immune to his attacks, but he wasn't able to ignore the other party's attacks. Such a battle really caused one to feel stifled. However, this fourth Tianzuan was not an ordinary person. He was aware that his attack from earlier did not harm Xiao Yan. The only reason was that its strength was insufficient. Since this strength was lacking, he should use a greater strength to smash Xiao Yan into dregs. Blood transforming grand skill. Great devouring blood technique. The fourth Tianzuan's face was ferocious. A sinister cry resounded over the land like thunder. After this cry sounded, the bodies of anyone weaker than an elite Dozun within a 10,000-foot radius exploded at this moment. They transformed into blood that continuously poured into the fourth Tianzuan's body. At the same time, the sea of blood in the abyss below began to whistle as it transformed into a monstrous bloody wave that surged into his body. While the fourth Tianzun was devouring all this blood, his originally still aura started to diverge, after which it slowly soared. Xiao Yan, do not threaten this venerable self. Today, I will capture all the blood of your Xiao clan along with the bloodline that you have activated. The sky was altered as the sea of blood spread. A sinister voice that was accompanied by a frightening pressure that pervaded the sky. A solemn expression flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he sensed the fourth Tianzuan's soaring aura. This person possessed some ability to form such a fierce name for himself within the central plains. The fourth Tianzuan's current aura had clearly surpassed that of an ordinary expert at the peak of the Dozun class. Of course, this did not mean that the fourth Tianzuan had already reached the Bansheng class because such a thing was impossible. There might only be a step from the peak of the Dozun class to the Bansheng class, but this step was as vast as the sky. The gap between the two was so terrifying that it was difficult to describe. This could be seen from the way Yao Lao's strength had remained at the peak of the Dozun class for many years. It wasn't until he borrowed the strength from his new body to break through. Regardless of how frightening one's talent was, trying to reach the Bansheng class was not an easy task. This short step was one that countless of talented individuals hated and failed. They would feel an incomparable regret until the moment they died. The reason that this occurred was because this short one step hid a unique training method. Only those experts who had approached this level would be able to sense this kind of unique training. Some of the top experts in the Central Plains region called this unique training method the 9 changes to turn Shang, Saint. The so-called 9 changes could be considered a quantifier to measure the gap between the peak of the Dozun class and the Bansheng class. After all, the gap between the two was really too terrifying. One needed to use an even finer ranking system with enormous positions between levels to differentiate the difficulty. The 9 changes were not complicated. Simply put, they were considered 9 compressions and suppressions. The moment the Do Qi within the body of an expert at the peak of the Dozun class showed signs of being full and could no longer be increased was the moment the 9 changes began. One would then need to shrink and suppress the Do Qi within one's body. Only then would the interior of one's body have enough space to accept new Do Qi. One needed to perform this compression once the Do Qi became filled again. This cycle would repeat, and only after 9 suppressions would it reach a complete state. The Do Qi within one's body would experience a change in quality under each compression. Only then would one cross over the unmeasurable sky-like gap and advance to the Shang class. Due to this, some of the experts who had reached this stage would describe the training hidden at the peak of the Dozun class as 9 changes. One could only become a Shang, Saint, after 9 changes. It was easy to talk about these 9 changes, but they would really test one's limits. Just imagine the frightening amount of Doqi an expert at the peak of the Dozun class could contain. That needed to be filled and filled 9 times. Such a requirement was indeed worthy of the description horrifying. Although the 9th Tianzuan from earlier was also at the peak of the Dozun class, he was a one-change peak Dozun. He was even a little weaker than Xiao Yin after he had activated the clan tattoo. After having absorbed so much energy from the fresh blood, the 4th Tianzuan had soared to the 3rd change. Of course, the Banshan class was still far enough away that it was difficult to feel. If the 4th Tianzuan reached the Banshan class, Xiao Yin would not have a chance of victory. The 4th Tianzuan's eyes also became scarlet with his soaring aura. Although this blood-transforming great skill was able to absorb the energy from the blood of a person, the sequela was quite serious. Within 1 month of using it, the 4th Tianzuan's body would enter a state where he was close to death. Even someone at the Dowang class would easily be able to kill him. Therefore, the 4th Tianzuan would usually not dare to use this secret technique unless he had no choice. But for this current situation, he would not only fail his mission if he did not activate it, he would also be defeated by Xiao Yin. This was something that he could not endure. Roar! His scarlet eyes stared at Xiao Yin. A dense smile surfaced on his face as a chilling roar was emitted from his throat. Chi-chi! Waves of frightening blood-colored fog surged from the 4th Tianzuan's body in all directions after he roared. It gathered into a thick blood cloud as a stench spread from it. Xiao Yin frowned as he stared at the bloody cloud in the sky. He could sense the frightening energy that had gathered within the bloody cloud, and he did not dare to slight it. His hand rubbed in front of him, and 4 clusters of heavenly flames appeared. A high temperature quickly spread when these heavenly flames appeared. They incinerated the surrounding stench. Xiao Yin inhaled another breath of air after summoning the 4 clusters of heavenly flames. His hand seal changed and a cluster of gray flames was spat out of his mouth. This flame might not be as strong as those 4 heavenly flames, but it emitted an extremely powerful aura. This was the fake heavenly flame that Xiao Yin had refined, life-transforming flame, 5-ring flame expelling technique. A low and deep cry was emitted from Xiao Yan's mouth as the 5 clusters of flames in front of him suddenly soared. They turned into 5,000 feet large fire spirits and gave off many loud beast roars above Xiao Yan's head. Gather! The fire spirits quickly took shape. Xiao Yin once again coldly cried out. 5 enormous fire spirits formed a mysterious formation and began to rapidly rotate. Finally, it turned into a couple 100 feet across 5-colored fire coil with a buzzing wind. It rotated wildly above his head as a hot wind spread. The bloody cloud in the distance began to fluctuate. Hemph! Bloody evil sky demon palm. The 4th Tianzuan let out a cold snort when he saw this from afar. He widened his mouth and a blood pillar shot out. It shot into the bloody cloud in the sky, and the cloud's color immediately dimmed. The blood cloud churned and suddenly burst apart. A 10,000-foot large blood palm shot from the blood cloud in front of a countless number of shocked eyes. It ruthlessly slammed toward Xiao Yin. The might of the blood palm was extremely frightening, and an enormous palm outline appeared on the distant ground when it was still 10,000 feet in the air. Xiao Yin, watch how this venerable self shall slam you into dust. What arrogant words! Xiao Yan's eyes turned cold when he heard the explosive cry that was suddenly emitted from the 4th Tianzuan. His hand seal immediately changed, and a low cry was emitted from his mouth, 5-ring flame expelling coil. Buzz buzz! The enormous 5-colored fire coil in the sky suddenly shot forth after Xiao Yan's cry sounded. Within a couple of flashes, it tore through empty space and ruthlessly collided with the huge blood palm. Bang! The two collided in a frightening manner, and a cold blood and hot flame exploded in the sky. Terrifying energy swept apart in front of many shocked eyes. At this moment, even the clouds had been forcefully shattered into dust. The fourth Tianzuan narrowed his eyes as he watched a frightening energy hurricane form in the sky. He had just pulled back by some distance when a chill was transmitted from behind him. He suddenly turned his head, and a face that contained an icy smile appeared within his eyes. Xiao Yin. Seeing Xiao Yin suddenly appear behind him, the fourth Tianzuan abruptly shrank despite his attitude. He had failed to sense just when Xiao Yin had moved. Great Heaven Creation Palm. A strange smile surfaced on Xiao Yan's face when he noticed the fourth Tianzuan's shock. His right hand violently slammed forward without any hesitation, and a dark black light circle was formed with lightning-like speed. Blood Demon Robe. Shock surfaced in fourth Tianzuan's heart while he faced Xiao Yan's ferocious attack. Fortunately, he was not an ordinary person. Blood immediately flowed through his pores and quickly formed a thick cuticle layer on his body. Bang! Xiao Yan's palm wind was just like lightning as it ruthlessly smashed into the fourth Tianzuan's body. An incomparable wind caused the blood cuticle on the fourth Tianzuan's body to crack an inch at a time. Grug. Although there was the blood demon cuticle blocking the attack, the remnant wind still forced the fourth Tianzuan to spit out a mouthful of blood. His body borrowed this push to quickly fly backwards. Trying to leave? The fourth Tianzuan's body had just flown back when a cold smile slid across Xiao Yan's face. Xiao Yan had finally managed to launch a sneak attack by using the opportunity created by the Do Qi void within the fourth Tianzuan's body after he had used the bloody evil sky demon palm earlier. How could Xiao Yan allow him to leave unharmed? The green-red ancient wings on Xiao Yan's back flapped A-B-C. His body appeared to have teleported as it appeared in front of fourth Tianzuan, who was flying backwards. Xiao Yan reached out with his hand, and 4 clusters of flames appeared. Soon after, an extremely beautiful fire lotus was formed in his palm. It's over. A ferociousness appeared on the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth as he observed the shock that had surged onto the fourth Tianzuan's face. The fourth Tianzuan's heart became icy cold when he saw the ferociousness on Xiao Yan's face. Each of those 3 Do skills that Xiao Yan had unleashed possessed a strength that was at the Tian class Do skill level. The perfect combination of those 3 Do skills caused even him to be unable to retaliate. No wonder so many experts from the Hall of Souls have fallen to this brat's hands. While the fourth Tianzuan was feeling extremely regretful of accepting this easy but extremely dangerous task, the fire lotus in Xiao Yan's hand had been propelled forward without any hesitation. It ruthlessly struck onto the fourth Tianzuan's body. Bang! The moment it struck the fourth Tianzuan, a terrifying firestorm swept over the sky like a celebratory firework in front of a countless number of eyes the moment it struck fourth Tianzuan. A terrifying firestorm whizzed across the sky. Its frightening temperature vaporized all the moisture in the air almost instantly. A dry heat rolled through the air. Some weaker individuals felt the blood in their bodies become boiling hot. Bang! A muffled sound was suddenly emitted from within the firestorm, and a figure wrapped in flames shot from the sky like a cannonball. The figure's miserable screeches reverberated by everyone's ears. Hearing this voice, that fire figure was that pompous fourth Tianzuan from the Hall of Souls. At this moment, this great Tianzuan was showing signs of turning into roast pork. Bang! The fourth Tianzuan violently shot into the abyss filled with the blood sea in front of many pairs of eyes. A frightening temperature spread, causing the sea of blood to bubble. Finally, it rapidly shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. The sea of blood completely disappeared within a short 10 seconds. The rushing sound of wind appeared in the sky as Xiao Yan's figure appeared above the deep abyss in a ghost-like fashion. His eyes were indifferent as he stared down. The 3 attacks from earlier had definitely seriously injured the fourth Tianzuan. If the fourth Tianzuan was unlucky, it was not impossible for him to die on the spot. One must get rid of grass from its roots. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered. He suddenly clenched his hand, and a purple-brown fire pillar with a hint of white shot from his palm. It penetrated the deep abyss and ruthlessly struck onto the spot where the aura remained. Bang! The somewhat moist soil of the abyss was grilled to a rock-hard material wherever the fire pillar passed. The fire pillar caused the deep abyss turned into rock, and wave after wave of high temperatures continued to radiate from it. Grug. At the edge of the fire pillar, the fourth Tianzuan, whose skin had completely disappeared from his body and was now a complete mess of blood and flesh, opened his eyes in a frail manner. He moved his finger, and a jade token appeared in his palm. He subsequently shattered it with all his strength. Chi. A spatial black tunnel immediately appeared beside the fourth Tianzuan the moment the jade token broke. A suction force surged from the tunnel and swallowed his body. Swoosh! A ray of light shot into the deep abyss the moment the fourth Tianzuan disappeared, after which the glow appeared at the spot where the fourth Tianzuan had been standing earlier. The figure that appeared from the light looked at the remaining spatial distortion, involuntarily frowned, and muttered, "He's really quick to escape." Xiao Yan had not expected the fourth Tianzuan to endure so many blows. He was still able to hang on to a breath and live despite suffering so many powerful attacks. However, Xiao Yan was not anxious despite having failed to kill the fourth Tianzuan. Even if the fourth Tianzuan were to recover from his injuries, a sequela would definitely remain. It would be difficult for the fourth Tianzuan to improve any further in the future. On the other hand, as long as Xiao Yan was given some time to train, it would soon be an easy matter for him to randomly kill the fourth Tianzuan the next time they met. Who? Xiao Yan gently exhaled. His face vaguely contained a paleness. The exhaustion from continuously fighting two Hall of Souls Tianzans and displaying Tian-class Do skills numerous times was a little too much for him, even though he possessed a quasi-Tian-class Qi method. If he continued to squander his Do Qi, he might not be able to endure the strain. The danger of the Yin alliance can be considered resolved. Xiao Yan flapped the green-red bone wings on his back. He flew out of the deep abyss and appeared in the sky of the outside world. With a sweep of his eyes, he noticed that the experts from the Hall of Souls and the profound lion sect were still fighting. A cold snort sounded as he flicked his 10 fingers. 10 extremely hot fire pillars shot from the tip of his fingers. They zoomed across the sky and ruthlessly smashed into some experts. Bang bang! Low and muffled sounds appeared as sharp screeches rang out. Those ordinary elite Dozuns ended up spitting out blood and withdrawing because of Xiao Yan's random attack. The frightening heavenly flame was just like maggots in their bones as it lingered on their bodies. It was useless regardless of what Do skill they used. Hence, many experts hurriedly fled in panic with flames covering their butts. Some of the Hall of Souls experts understood that the situation was hopeless after witnessing this attack. They did not dare to remain any longer as they formed their black fog and quickly fled. Alliance Chief Xiao, please show mercy. All of us were forced into this. Some of the experts and sects that had been threatened or lured over by the Hall of Souls hurriedly cried out in panic. None of them had expected Xiao Yan to be this fierce. He had relied on his own abilities to finish off 2 experts with unbelievable strength. Thus, they did not dare to resist. Xiao Yan's eyes were indifferent as he glanced at the people who bent with the situation. However, he did not kill all of them. Although all of these people were disgraceful, they did possess some reputation within the northwestern region. Killing them all would not benefit the Yin Alliance's future developments. Of course, he also did not wish to attract spineless individuals. If they were surrendering now, they would naturally turn their backs when facing a strong enemy in the future. Xiao Yan mused for a moment before ordering in a faint voice, "If all of you wish to leave, you will need to exchange a life for your life." Take the lives of those from the Profound Lion sect in exchange for your own? The experts from the Profound Lion sect experienced a drastic change when they heard Xiao Yan's orders. On the other hand, the other factions and experts hesitated for a moment before revealing a ferocity within their eyes. They turned their heads and rushed toward the experts from the Profound Lion sect whom they had been fighting alongside earlier. In a moment, a chaotic battle erupted in the sky. This time around, the Yin Alliance ended up an observer to the show. These people are really shameless. Xiao Ding smiled as he watched the fierce and ruthless battle that had erupted in the sky. Xiao Yin was really ruthless. The hands of these people would be dyed with the lives of those from the Profound Lion sect. Both parties would naturally become enemies, and it would be difficult for them to form an alliance in the future. Of course, the Profound Lion sect's strength would greatly decline after being defeated. Moreover, the Profound Lion sect had offended many factions during this war in the northwestern part of the continent. Having lost the protection of the Hall of Souls, the fate of the Profound Lion sect would be quite miserable. In the future, the Yin Alliance would probably dominate this northwestern region alone. The chaotic battle in the sky continued for over 10 minutes. The experts from the Profound Lion sect suffered serious injuries, and some even died. Even the army that they had gathered had suffered many losses. Now that no one was commanding them, the army had begun to scatter and flee. After glancing at the sky, Xiao Yin understood that the Profound Lion sect was finished. Such a sect would no longer exist in the Northwest in the future. Who? Xiao Yin gently exhaled as he turned around and landed on the wall of the fortress. The entire fortress immediately let out an earth-shaking cheer when they saw him return. The Yin Alliance will not fall. All hail the Alliance Chief. Xiao Yin smiled as he slowly landed on the wall and heard this cheer, which shook the entire fortress. You have become a lone hero again? Kai Lin glanced at Xiao Yin and spoke in a faint voice, but the corner of her mouth had curved into an enchanting shape. Xiao Yin merely shook his head and smiled at Kai Lin with her razor tongue but soft heart. She was still the same after so many years. Ha ha, Junior Pavilion Chief really exceeds the expectations of others. You were able to finish off that Shuehe Zunjia. The reputation of this old demon within the Central Plains back then was not inferior to your teacher. However, this person was renowned for his brutalness. The three elders hurried over in a flash and laughed. There was an additional respect in their eyes when they looked at Xiao Yin. The strong were honored, and the strength that Xiao Yin had displayed earlier was enough to get them submit to him. Haha, thank you everyone. Once I return, I will definitely deliver the remaining reward. Xiao Yin laughed. It's fine. With Yao Qin's reputation, we don't even need to worry about him eating his words. The elite Dozuns who had been invited hurriedly replied after hearing Xiao Yan's words. Xiao Yin grinned when he heard their replies. Xiao Li and Xiao Ding had already begun to dispatch the army to clear the battlefield. The entire wall was one busy scene. Father is mighty. A crisp voice that caused Xiao Yan's heart to tremble suddenly drifted over while he was quietly sighing in relief. His face involuntarily revealed a brilliant smile. He turned his head and studied little Xiao Xiao, who was waving to him from Kai Lin's embrace. A special feeling surged into his heart. He had also become a father. Father will likely be very pleased if he was aware of this. Father, rest assured that I will rescue you as soon as possible. At that time, our family will be reunited again. Xiao Yin softly sighed in his heart. He quickly stepped forward and pulled little Xiao Xiao from Kai Lin's embrace into his own. He violently kissed her smooth little face and could not help but laugh out loud when he saw her somewhat bitter expression. Hiss hiss. Little Xiao Zhao's tongue suddenly brightened while Xiao Yin was laughing. A seven-colored figure suddenly shot out. It lingered above little Xiao Zhao's shoulder and joyously extended its snake tongue toward Xiao Yin. This is Seven-colored heaven swallowing python? Xiao Yin was startled when he saw this seven-colored figure. He immediately cried out in surprise. This seven-colored heaven-swallowing python was not completely dominated by me. Its soul used Xiao Zhao's body to reincarnate. As a reward, Xiao Xiao is able to use its strength. In other words, Xiao Xiao has possessed an elite Dozong strength the moment she was born. Kai Lin softly explained. Oh! Xiao Yin lifted his brows when he heard this. A seven-colored heaven-swallowing python was a peak existence among the snake magical beast. During ancient times, some powerful seven-colored heaven-swallowing python could challenge an ancient heaven serpent. A snake-shaped magical beast of such bloodline was something that even Qing Lin's triple jade-green snake flower pupils could not control. Moreover, a seven-colored heaven-swallowing python at its peak was comparable to an elite Do Sheng. In other words, there was a seven-colored heaven-swallowing python's strength superimposed on Xiao Zhao's own strength. A person and a snake joining hands. That strength was really quite frightening. Although this seven-colored heaven-swallowing python possesses a limitless potential, it is still a borrowed strength. My daughter will not simply rely on other people's strength. Xiao Yin smiled as an excitement intensified in his eyes. Currently, Xiao Zhao's constitution is at its softest and most malleable. Although I cannot go overboard in an attempt to get her to grow, I will be able to provide her with the most perfect training conditions. Xiao Xiao will be perfect because she was Xiao Yan's daughter.